Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having a wonderful day. Don't forget to leave a like. It's a free and easy way to support the channel. Comments are always appreciated as well. Very big thank you to everyone who helps out the algorithm. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Pretty mixed, I want to say, news day. Of course, nothing bad or terrible or scary or anything like that, but a lot of very interesting things happening at the exact same time as is, per usual. I think we're kind of, this is my opinion. I think many of us are very overloaded right now with the market. Nonetheless, things happening just in life. But altogether, I think a lot of people are having trouble compartmentalizing and or looking at everything that's happening, because I think it actually is too many things. If you've paid attention or seen, and I'll give you any of the last 14 videos, the last 2 weeks, we have an immense amount of news about buying, whale buying, institutions buying. We have so many things about states and countries adopting Bitcoin, and I think people just kind of don't know where to look. If you missed one of the other pieces of information as well, it currently looks like there are going to be, what's the word? There are over, I believe, 25 different proposals right now for ETFs on the market. And right, I just think that people don't really know what to do with all of this information. I told you before, and I tried to explain that I remain bullish on the market. I know it's very difficult for a lot of people to decipher or understand, especially if prices go down, if they go sideways, whatever the actual case might be. But for me, having been in this market for a long time, I know historically we always tend to have like sadder periods. Even with, if you get a chance to look at the charts from previous bull runs, it's never a straight line up. The year after the halving takes a year. And over the course of that year, we tend to have 2 to 3 periods where like things, go down or people get, whatever the case might be for that. But the good news keeps on rolling in. I expected this to be larger news, but as I said, I think people can't really keep up with everything that's happening. I think it's almost impossible because it's constant good news. A lot of people have different coins and no one really knows like where to look or like when to, I don't know, it's difficult to explain. Apparently, the NASDAQ has officially filed a 19B-4 form with the US SEC seeking approval to list and trade the Canary H-bar ETF. H-bar, for those of you who do not know, is Hedera hash graph. We had no real indications that this was going to happen, as we've mainly seen information about the XRP, the Litecoin, the Solana, and up until recently, the Cardano spot ETF. Like I said, the news keeps rolling in. So I think if something is extremely bullish, 24 hours later, 3 times that amount of news comes out, and then the next day it's 3 times more. And I think that people really just seem confused right now. There's so much happening within this market. For context, even during other bull runs and bull markets that we've had, we've never had this like level of news on any given day. In 2017 or in 2021, we'll tend to have news that's more like prices went up. This price went down by 4%. This company's thinking about getting into the space. This person had this to say about Bitcoin. That person said that. This person has a problem with XRP, even though it went up by 12%. The news was never like adoption-y. It was always like someone said this, This person thinks the bull run is going to last this long. The prices fell down. We found out why prices fell down. Prices went back up. This coin is going to this by the time we get to June. We've never had a situation because before we didn't have the ETFs like actually going through. When I say that like it took literally 12 years to get a Bitcoin ETF, it's the truth. There was no approval for that entire time. It seems relatively normal now to have this idea of like, okay, like we're going to get more crypto ETFs. But that wasn't the case for any other bull run. This is what I think is also leading to a lot of the confusion when people look at prices and we keep getting incredibly big news. But prices as of yet aren't pumping 10, 20x. This adoption level is like actually, it's not even unprecedented. It's insane. It's actually really weird to see because it's such a huge shift from anything that we've had before. I mentioned around mid-2024 before, I was saying that a lot of the market previously before that had been relatively speculative. We speculated on if any country at any point was ever going to adopt Bitcoin, use Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, hoard Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin. And then we got multiple countries saying that by mid-2024, they were like, no, like we're buying it, we're hoarding it, we're holding it, we want to get more. That was the big shebang when it was like the US is also going to do it. That was also one of the really crazy parts. We never had other coins even be considered for ETFs. The main focus for 12 years was Bitcoin. And then we got them. That's why I say now, you know, it sounds relatively normal to have other altcoins be placed onto the pedestal to be like, hey, we also want one for that. But it was also not a thing. We had institutional interest, but a lot of it was hush hush. We heard from Coinbase before that they were working with other institutions, but now everyone's coming out saying it. If you don't remember, 2 months ago, we had news from Ripple, Coinbase, and I want to say Binance. And they basically were all like, yeah, we're working with a number of governments right now. We're working with a number of countries and central banks. Do you remember the news that we got from Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock? This was, I want to say November, December. He was like, yeah, like we're currently working with a dozen countries who are looking to get into Bitcoin. And I was like, does anyone hear what's even happening anymore? I feel like people, you know, you see that something is taking place, but like, I'm actually really shocked that prices have gone down at all. I know it's manipulation. I know market moves and tariffs and stuff like that. But the fact that retail hasn't rushed back into this market is actually quite extraordinary, completely extraordinary. For those of you wondering why HBAR, Hedera hash graph, might even be remotely on the radar right now, is because this is another one of the coins that is supposed to be tax-free within the United States. And as I mentioned before, you can't be delusional here. If any of these coins actually end up being tax-free within the United States, people are going to rush into them. There's a huge difference between a 40% tax rate, a 25% tax rate, a 10% tax rate, and zero. If you have zero, hedge funds will begin to rush into it, as will other municipalities who are also like, we need to get into crypto. What can we buy that has the best tax benefits for us? The thing that has 0%. I was asking in general, and someone answered, thank you, if Litecoin was also made within the United States. For some reason, a lot of times, if I'm looking for certain information on coins or things like that, like if you get a chance, try and type in like information for Litecoin. It'll autocorrect to Bitcoin. Or like I'll look for information. Remember this was maybe 2 years ago. I was asking, I was like, how many transactions per second does Cardano do? And people were like, well, it batches transactions. And it does. And I'm like, yeah, but cool, awesome. But mathematically, you should be able to tell me how many it's batching in one batch per minute or per second so that I have like an accurate number for like, for a lot of different coins, it's difficult to find any real information other than like, this coin amazing, this coin do good. And it's like, oh, that's fantastic. But how many people are using it? How many transactions per second? Like, does it actually get anywhere near Visa or MasterCard? Or is this simply some kind of like, someone just giving us information for something? But HBAR was more popular years ago. It's one of the less hypey coins, and they tend to build in the background and have strong foundations, but they're not like Tron or other things like that, which will constantly let you know how amazing and awesome and cool and fantastic they are. So HBAR actually getting a filing to actually have an ETF makes sense, but it's also still surprising, as I assumed other coins would kind of be there before. And for those of you who also don't know, Litecoin, as we've gone over multiple times, currently has 5 ETFs being proposed for it. According to Bloomberg analyst Eric Balchunas, this puts HBAR and Litecoin in the best position among current altcoin ETF filings, increasing their chances of gaining regulatory approval ahead of others. The news currently still is, I think the SEC has said wait to a number of different proposals, and I think some of them are in like April or something now. But according to, it's not only Balchunas. Who's the other ETF analyst? I don't remember this guy's name. One of these guys on Twitter. They're all reporting that Litecoin is apparently next. Litecoin is going to get their ETFs before everyone else does. Whether that actually happens, gigantic question mark in the sky, but it's looking pretty good as far as we can tell. This ETF is on track and is designed to track the real-time price of HBAR, the 21st largest cryptocurrency by market cap. This filing marks a significant expansion of Canary Capital's crypto investment products following the launch of its HBAR trust in October 2024 and an initial ETF registration S1 in November. So, cool. We'll see if this actually ends up going through. I have a hankering, an idea that realistically, any coin that was actually made in the United States or has that stamp on it is probably going to be favored over everything else. If we now, and I don't know, however, if we end up getting news that AAVE, AAVE, is also going to be getting an ETF and the other, these kinds of coins made in America, then it'll be a complete obvious transpirational, is that a word? Transparency as far as like which coins they're actively choosing. But like I said, I still have huge hopes and huge optimism for the space. I know that things aren't perfect every single day, but things are happening. That's one of the more important things. That's the HBAR and I guess also Litecoin news. It was also in the article as well. There's a lot of, I don't know if it's just me or maybe my algorithm is different, but I am getting like I'm not joking, like 90% Litecoin posts on Twitter. I don't know if that's happening for everyone else. Like it's just like bullish, but like constantly over and over. I appreciate it, but I wonder how the algorithm actually works on the platform. Because I mainly, especially recently, I'm liking a lot of like Pokemon card posts. So I don't know how the algorithm was like Umbreon to Litecoin and 90% of it is Litecoin. It's very interesting. Anywho, that's the HBAR news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in, I want to say surprising news. I don't remember the beginning of this news at all. Apparently, it happened already, and maybe it's also affecting me now as well. I said it before, it's difficult to keep up with everything, but I don't remember this part of the equation at all. Apparently, Wisconsin's investment board has apparently purchased more BlackRock Bitcoin ETF shares. Apparently, they have over 6 million shares. Can anyone tell me why this is insane? One, I don't ever remember saying the word Wisconsin, not joking, on this channel. Two, I feel like I would have remembered saying the words or hearing that Wisconsin at some point has been purchasing Bitcoin ETF shares. Third, this is what other states are trying to get legislation for right now. So, you know how like we have been hearing from Dennis Porter and all these other people that these states are getting ready to like buy Bitcoin, and some of them have, what do you call it? Two of the states apparently are making legislation to not only be able to buy Bitcoin spot directly, but also to be able to actually buy like ETF shares. I keep thinking Texas. I forgot which one it is. Missouri? I don't remember. One state, this was 3 days ago, was like, yeah, no, we're also launching proposals to be able to have the state legally be able to buy Bitcoin ETF shares as well. That was like seen as major news. At what point did Wisconsin start doing this already? At what point was this not already news? You see, this is why I said I feel like I would have remembered everyone clamoring that states are getting ready to do this when this one apparently has been doing it for months now. The state fund was the first of its kind to report a Bitcoin ETF purchase in 2024. Nope, not at all. I don't remember that at all. Nope. Michigan's retirement system also disclosed Bitcoin ETF holdings in 2024, but as of press time had yet to file a disclosure for its year-end positions. So states have already been doing this. How many other states have been doing this without us knowing it? This is huge news. This is gigantically gargantuan news. That not only is the state doing it, but their retirement system is also buying Bitcoin ETFs. I feel like that kind of overshadows everything else that they've already been doing it. How many are other states already doing this, but now they're just trying to get legislation to hold like Bitcoin? What the heck is happening? Wisconsin's investment board saw fit to significantly add to its Bitcoin. Okay, there are two different words. Okay. In the last 3 months of the year, the State of Wisconsin Investment Board, or SWIB, okay, disclosed ownership of over 6 million shares. What? Of BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust IBIT as of the end of the year. Okay, maybe the filings are just coming in now. But no. That still doesn't explain. It's cool that the filings are coming out now, but okay. Per a 13F filing on Friday, up from roughly 2.9 million shares 3 months prior. Okay. I'm going to stop freaking out over this, but this seems incredibly significant. Are other states already allowed to invest in Bitcoin ETFs now, but they're all just trying to have like actual like reserves of Bitcoin? This is huge. This is insane. And it's one of those things where, and I'll be honest with you, how do I say this? I can feel a lot of time, like I can feel it in the air. It's difficult to explain. When something significant happens in the space and I know that other people won't care. And a lot of times it's not that I'm expecting people to throw a party because Michigan is buying Bitcoin, but there's never any like recognition of it at all. In any cryptocurrency space, there's always this kind of like, once again, a very blasé feeling because it doesn't have an initial reaction to the actual price of Bitcoin. It's weird. It's so weird that we have all this adoption and so little like, did you see like this was 4 or 5 days ago when the market dropped into extreme fear? And I was like, everything that's been going on every 24 hours and we dropped back to extreme fear immediately. Like everyone, it completely wiped out any idea of what's been going on, who's been accumulating. It's very fascinating. That's the Michigan has been buying Bitcoin ETF shares from BlackRock apparently for months now, unnoticed. Okay, let's move on. Also in Yay! Sure. Something called Bitcoin Depot has strengthened its Bitcoin treasury with a $5 million Bitcoin purchase, it says, reflecting its belief in the long-term potential of Bitcoin. So I will also say this out loud, unless I'm like, has the timeline changed? Has something, I feel like I'm going through one of those things where like I'm just not getting information that is actually there. And I'm usually pretty good with being like, 8 weeks ago this happened. I don't remember ever saying Bitcoin Depot. Nonetheless, Bitcoin Depot purchased Bitcoin. So this feels brand new, but the writing of the article is like, oh, this already happened before. Now they're just doing it again. With this latest acquisition, Bitcoin Depot now holds 71.5 Bitcoin, further solidifying its position in companies with exposure to digital assets. The company continues to bridge the gap. Okay, cool it there. Between cash and crypto. They're a Bitcoin ATM company operating, geez Louise, 8,400 Bitcoin ATM. That's a lot. 8,400. Have you ever seen those videos? I find them so fascinating. Have you ever seen those videos of people who own what are they called? Vending machines. I find that if you get a chance, look at them. I find them so fascinating. The videos are usually always the same, or they have like the same beginning. It's someone who was like down on their luck or was having so and so. They saved up, I think like $2,000. I don't know what the number is anymore. And they buy a vending machine. And they use that vending machine, to put stuff inside of. And they in these videos, they always show how much money they made that week. But if you follow the channels, at some point there was one guy, I remember like I was watching his stuff and I took a break, and a couple years later it popped back up again and I was like, ooh, and I clicked on it. This guy had like 150 machines. And I was like, what? He had so many machines. He was taking all the change out in quarters. For those of you who aren't from the States, it's in the little 25-cent pieces. And he was showing like how much he had in a bucket. And I was like, first of all, don't get robbed outside, please, for the love of goodness. But secondly, I was like, that's so much money. He was explaining how much money he was making like per week and per month. And he was using that money to like buy more machines. He was like finding like stores and becoming friends with them. And they were letting him basically put his vending machines inside of their stores or outside of their stores. All these different things were taking place. But it was so fascinating to see, like, of course, I mean, this isn't like an allegory for like time, but it's more of it's literally just like getting started. You do something, you start out with 1, you get to 2, you get to 15, it keeps going in this direction. It's so, I see a lot of people on Twitter doing the exact same thing. And I mean, I would advise heavily against posting exactly how much of anything you have, just throwing it out there. You wouldn't tell anyone, you wouldn't tell any stranger, nonetheless members of your family. If you had $5 million in your bank account, you wouldn't walk down the street and go, I have $5 million. But in crypto, it seems to be like a weird flex kind of thing. So there are a lot of people, I keep seeing people who are like, I finally made it to 1,000 XRP. There are a lot of people now rushing to get 84 Litecoin. That seems to be the brand new trend. What's the other thing? I've seen some people talking about like 10,000 Cardano and all these other yada yada yadas, but 8,400 ATMs. That feels like all the ATMs in America. They can't all be that close together. So I guess also the other question I have is, from a logical standpoint, 8,400 Bitcoin ATMs is how many people are using them? Do any of you still use Bitcoin ATMs? They were big in like 2016, 2017, 2018, when it was impossible to find like a proper crypto exchange that wasn't going to get shut down. But then also, like, how much money are they making from that? Like, I say this from $5 million, shouldn't it be like 15 million or 35? Maybe they're not making as much money as my brain is telling me that they actually are, but 8,400. Can you imagine owning 8,400 of anything? Can you imagine having 8,400 apartments? Who's that guy on YouTube? It's He's a huskier gentleman. I want to say he's in Florida or something like that. But he posts these like really weird videos where he goes to like these housing complexes that are like completely falling apart. And he just buys like 390 apartments in one go. And I'm like, what? Like in my mind, I'm so used to buying like, okay, here, this took me forever. One studio apartment. The idea of just being like, should we just buy like 300 apartments is completely insane. Can you imagine owning 8,400 apartments? I got way off course. Many apologies. Brandon Mintz, that's with a Z at the end, the CEO of Bitcoin Depot, said adopting Bitcoin as part of our treasury strategy underscores our long-standing belief in Bitcoin as a significant financial asset. We always believed in Bitcoin, blah, 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 money, given the recent standards as Bitcoin. Fantastic. Cool. So that is awesome for them. I mean, it's another company who's basically come out of nowhere. I do not remember saying the word Bitcoin Depot at all in the last 900 years. Like, never said those words together. Another company who's basically announcing that they've purchased more Bitcoin. Do not be delusional in assuming that 71 Bitcoin is not a lot. First of all, it's a lot of money in general, but that's also several thousand people who will never be able to own 300,000 Satoshis. And that's also 71.5 millionaires and billionaires who will never be able to own an entire coin. I know we've gone over this before, but understand that if you are new here, or if you're trying to learn, whenever we have any kind of a price dip or something in the market, whales are always buying. They buy when the prices are high. They buy when the prices are low. So coins are always getting scooped up. Just throwing that out there. Like that guy said a couple of months ago, he was like, stop selling your coins to BlackRock. People, I think a number of people in crypto have a general idea of what's taking place. But the bigger picture, I think people actually can't conceptualize what it means for Bitcoin to go to $1 million. For XRP to go to $125 at some point in the future. If you just sucked your teeth, please go somewhere else. Because it's so weird knowing where this market is going to go. And whenever like I say a price or something, there's always some kind of like an annoyance that someone has. If you don't really understand where this market is going in the next 10, 20, 30 years, you are actually missing out. So yeah, Bitcoin Depot has purchased more ? Bitcoin. Good for them. This happens every single day and it's not slowing down. I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't forget to do something good for yourself, something that makes you happy all the time, just so you can also enjoy life as well. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.